Alright, welcome to my second AvZ video. So today let's do a coding stream, which is a coding video, which I'm just gonna write a script for a really simple setup. So here's the setup. It's called the double ice 16 call. Yeah, so let me just go back to Zen Garden because I like the music there. Okay, so what's the actually let's turn it down a little bit. I think it's a bit annoying. This good. Okay, I think this is better. Okay, so for those who don't know how to play the setup, I use something called Stage 6 or Change 6. It's PPDD, and then IPPPP, and then PPDD, and then IPPPP, right? So this takes 16 comms in total if you just count it. I think the math worked out there. And then the wavelength is going to be 601, 1150, 1150, 601, and 1150. So these are all in 70 seconds. So the reason why it's so this is basically just 6.01 seconds, right? The reason why it's not exactly 6 seconds is because PopCap says so, right? What can you do about it? It's because some game mechanisms. The minimum wavelength is going to be 6.01 seconds or 601 centiseconds. And then the reason why this is 1150 is because 1150 is immune to all jack explodes, and it's pretty useful. And this also adds up to be larger than it's larger than this number, 3475, which is the cooldown for cops. Okay, so you can if you don't believe me, you can do the math there, but it should work out. And then basically this is how we're gonna do it. So let's go back, take a look at this setup another time. So this is the 16 cops. We have 2 ice here, but these are not within the umbrella range. So we might want to put ice like in this, so row 1, code 2, or uh, how should I call it? Maybe 1, 2, 1 comma 2. And then you also want to put a 6 comma 2. So 1 comma 2 and 6 comma 2 they're safe because this is change 6. It's pretty immune to imps, like because you might be worried that imps might like eat your eyes or whatever, but because this is change 6, it's not going to do that. And also it's within the umbrella cover range, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, so let's do that. So let's see if I remember. So this is simple AvZ, so I think you do set eyes. Yes, okay, so set ice is saying that which ice I want to use, right? So let's do 1, 2, 6, 2, 2, 1, and 5, 1. So take a note at the order here. So this is actually have priorities in there. So the if I write it like this, the highest priority is going to be 1, 2, and 6, 2. And then they're going to be used at last. And then these two are the lower priorities. So they are going to be used first because I think they're there just for aesthetic purpose. There's not much reason to put it there. So we just want to use it up. And then we're just going to switch to using those two eye spots basically, right? So okay, so let's see. So maybe I can do something like for all the wave, um, from wave 1 to wave 9, every 2 wave. So this is corresponding to the PPDD operation, right? So I can also write a comment here saying that this is PPDD. So what this gonna entail is basically because it says it's wave 1 to wave 9 every 2 wave. So that is going to be wave 1, wave 3, 5, 7, and 9, which is exactly what we need because this is gonna happen every 2 waves, like every other wave, right? So for PPDD, it's very easy because it's a simple AvZ. It's super easy. So you can just do like 278 and then, DD 359. So like 359 is really useful because it's the earliest time to kill all pole vaulting zombies. Yeah, so this is something that we need to know because it's used very widely, right? You can also make it later, like 401 is fine, uh, but I just prefer to use that. 278 is just magic number. Yeah, there has been a lot of discussion out or controversy on this number. It's like it doesn't make sense, but it's actually being widely used for the past 15 years, whatever. Maybe not 15 years, maybe 13 years ish. Uh, You can also do 225. So if you do 225, it's the earliest time to make sure guards are damaged. Because Giga Gargantuars and Gargantuars, they walk pretty slowly, as you can see. So this is the earliest time that they are completely within the game scene. Because the PvZ has a setting that if it's not in the game scene, that it has like a threshold basically for the exposition of the zombies. And if the zombies exposition is above that threshold, PvZ thinks they're out of the scene and they're not going to be damaged, like no matter what you do, basically. And to make sure that they all walk inside the scene, this is the time you have to wait. And also, by the way, if you're wondering like what are these times, they're all like in centiseconds after the base tick is zombie spawning. So zombie spawning is going to be tick 0. So this just tick 225. It's just 2.25 seconds after the zombie spawns. And this just means that 3.59 seconds after the zombie spawns. And because the game the smallest game tick is 1 centisecond, so that just basically means that there's 100 frames in each second, right? So that's why we only use CS the most because this is already the minimum unit for the game. Like if you talk about like 0. CS, like 0.1 CS, like that doesn't make sense. I don't think I'm spelling that correctly. Actually, it's right. Okay. So 0.1 CS doesn't make sense because it's smaller than the minimum unit of the game frame. So it wouldn't work. So that's why we just do this and we just assume the default unit is going to be CS. And that's why it's also like this. So everything you see in AvZ is pretty much going to be based on that. Okay, oh, I should also explain like this. So this is setting zombies. It's basically just like if you open up your PvZ tool, which is this one. Oh, look at that. It's actually in English because I changed it to English. Good for me. So this is basically just like, this one, natural, right? So, and there's also extreme, but they're just two different ways of setting zombies. So basically, this allows you to spawn the zombies you want. Like these are like really tough zombies, and sometimes we don't care about like the easier ones. Like we don't care about maybe newspaper zombie, so it's not in there. So these are the collection of like really tough zombies, and we just make sure that they all appear in this level, so that we can demonstrate the hardest possible situation. Um, and this thing, you don't have to type it out every time. I just copied it from some other script because basically it's going to be the same, you know, like the same set of hardest zombies. It's pretty generalized. It's pretty generalizable, I should say. Okay, so now we have the PPDD. We also want to make sure that we have an I afterwards, right? So we can do something like I. Yep, it's that easy. But yeah, also like I was gonna say for wave 9 we don't have to do I, but we actually also have to do I, because otherwise we don't have enough control because the zombies, the gargantuars mostly, they're gonna be unniced. They're gonna be the original speed, and it's just too quick. Like we have to choke them out. So this is the PPDD, and then now let's write IPPPP. So it's basically the same thing also from, okay, so now we have to start from 2, right? Because because those are for the odd number waves and these are for the even number waves. I can also do this, so that's much clearer that these are only for even numbers. And for IPP, PP can also do this magic number that's everybody's favorite, right? And then I'm also gonna do another PP2. So this is for killing Zambani and diggers, right? And then this is kill uh, kill most zombies. Also trigger refresh. So these are two different PPs. They all say PP here, but has a different meaning, right? So I can also have a line here to say that they're kind of different. For this one, what we usually do is we define an len here at like len1, and then we just say 150. So this is called a variable. It is something you can use in the programming language that offers you. So you can just refer to 150 as len, basically. You can also do const so that you can't like modify the len, but like this is only like 20 lines, like you probably wouldn't make that mistake. It's useful if it's like 100 lines or like 200 lines so that but like for the safety, you can do that. So what we're going to do here, because we know after you do a cog, after 200 centiseconds or after 2 seconds, the game is going to refresh. So we're gonna do is you're gonna do len1 minus 200, and that's it. Okay, so now I think we have everything we need for the first half, and we can try that. So we do right click and then AvZ run script. Okay, so it says I'm in. This warning is just saying that because I'm in the game, and it's not happy with that because for AvZ you have to be outside the game to inject it for some weird reason. But yeah, okay, so this is saying that this is the thing we injected, right? Oh, didn't have select cards. That's my bad. So we should also say select cards. Let's just use the plus version so it's quicker. Let's have ice room. Actually, I can write just ice. Yes, because simple AvZ also simplifies the way you say stuff, right? Like in AvZ, you have to do ice shroom, but in simple AvZ, you can just say ice. If you control click on it, it just expands to ice shroom. So yeah, it's just easier for you. And then because it's PE, it's morning, we have to do coffee. And then we probably don't need anything else, but let's just, get some cherry, get some squash, also get some puff, get some sunshroom. So sun is sunshroom, and then we can also get security, and then we can also get pop. Let's just get everybody. So this is 1, 2. I actually don't have to select 10 because select cards plus would just fill the rest of the slots with like random cards. I don't have to worry about that. So this is also the reason why I'm using that, because if I use the original AvZ select cards, I have to say 10 cards. Like sometimes I don't care about the other cards, so this is pretty useful. Okay, let's just try to do that again. That all worked well. Too. Okay. As you can see, we're already in the game with 0.001 second, and we're killing the zombies. How about that? That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, but this DD actually fired to row 1 and row 5. That is because DD is usually for intercepting the imps, and for interception you have to do 1 and 5. But here we actually don't need that. We can just have it to go to 2, 5. So something like this. And this is saying that the rows are going to be 2 and 5, and the column is going to be 9. Okay, so that's just a little thing I noticed. Okay, and then we can see how the zombies are killed. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So this is the wave 3, the third wave, and then we are doing PPDD. Now the fourth wave, we're doing IPP, as you can see here, which is working as expected. Yep. And then this is wave 5. Okay, sometimes it takes too long to go through every wave, so there are two things you can do. So one thing is you can just set game speed, right? You can just set, maybe 5 times the game speed or something. And then you just try to run again. It's gonna run everything in 5 times. So let's turn this down a little bit because it's kind of crazy. Okay, so now it's pretty good. It's all working. And you can also use this PvZ tools. Go to status, click on auto refresh. It's gonna tell you which waves you're at, right? So it says past wave 6, so we're at wave 6. Okay, so yeah, I think we're at wave 9. This is wave 9, and then yeah. So because it's in fast mode, I have to do some manual thing there. So this is one limitation of setting game speed, is that you kind of have to set it back because otherwise you can't really do the manual stuff. So there's also one really good thing called skip tick. Literally just skips to the tick you want, right? So let's say I'm interested in going to wave 9 because I know wave 1 to 8, they all probably work because we just checked. So we can just say 1, 9. Yeah, that's pretty easy. And it's just gonna run everything until tick 1 of wave 9. So just remember, this is tick first and then a wave, okay? Just don't get it mixed up. And then yeah, here we are at the exact same point where in last round we maybe took like maybe 20 seconds to do that, but here, as you can see, it's just that. It's pretty easy. That was fun. Okay. So as you can see, there is a backup dancer that kind of just messed up that cob. Um, there is something you can do though. So um, I think I can fix that. So here, instead of doing, so this is default to be like 601 ice, which is gonna be the perfect prejudge ice, which is gonna be, like the tick one of the next wave, because this wave is 601, and then this is just gonna be the exact same tick that the next wave of zombies are gonna spawn. Um, but it has some limitations because it's gonna ice all the dancer zombies outside the screen, basically. And then after they're iced, they are gonna just stay there and then do their spawning, their backup dancers and whatever. And this creates a problem where in the final waves, you have like a surplus of dancer zombies outside the screens, and you can't really hit them because they're outside the screens, as I explained before. The game doesn't think you can hit them, and then they're just gonna walk inside. So there are two things you can do. So one thing is just like made cheats, right? So you can just say dancing. So this is made cheats. If you don't know what that is, kind of okay, I kind of need to restart the game to explain that. So the reason I'm restarting the game is because if I don't, AvZ is gonna run every time I click into anything, and it's gonna mess things up. So let's do something like, maybe I can get some. So let's get some resource, and then so if I place a dancing zombie here, it's supposed to go forward, right? But if I pause it, and then also pause it here, as you can see, it just like stays there, right? So this is because the dancer is controlled by a game clock that is not affected. It's still running when you're pausing the game. So basically, by pausing the game, you can control um, the movement of the dancer zombies very precisely, because this is mostly like a bug. I don't think PopCap knows that because they're not fixing it in the later version, in the 2010 version of PvZ. But it is something we can use. So it is called made cheats. And so it's also supporting in AvZ. That's why we have this. So if you put on this, then all the dancers are gonna just be dancing outside. Like they're never gonna come towards you. So that is one thing you can do. But this is not really cheating. It's called made cheats, but like because as a just demoed, right? Like you can just do it on your own. It just needs some like pauses. So yeah, it's annoying to do that for sure, but it's not really cheating because pausing is something the game gives you on its own. But you can do this to programmatically make sure that the dancer zombies don't move. But this is seen as pretty ugly because it is kind of wacky, and I mean not wacky, but it's kind of broken. Because all the dancers are gonna just clutter outside the screen, looks really ugly, and it's also questionable like whether it's actually natural or not, because this is not the same way as we are using the in-game pauses. It is actually just modifying the game logic to some extent. So some people don't like it, like I don't like it. So what I would do is I would just you know, if the problem is they're like iced too early outside the screen, then we can just ice later. We don't need the perfect ice, right? We can just do 100 ice. 100 ice meaning that the ice is going to take effect 100 standard seconds after the zombies spawn. So that also gives us some time for the zombies to come inside, especially the dancer zombies to come inside and get killed by us, which is pretty nice. So let's just try to run this again. And it all just worked. And as you can see here, there is no dancer zombies that are like remaining outside of the screen, which is pretty nice. And yeah, and now we can do our thing where we, stall the zombies a little bit to get more advantage. Yeah, so that's basically how it works. So now I noticed something I don't like is that I don't want so if you don't know, this set ice has an underlying stuff called ice fitter. It just basically fills all the ice to those four positions based on the priorities, as I explained before. But it doesn't really understand anything else, right? So like here, because there is going to be bungee zombies at wave 10, I don't really want the ice to be here. I only need those two spots mostly. Like I don't want it to be here because it's not protected. It's not protected by the umbrella leaves, and also I just don't need it. Like only having two eye spots is fine for this for this rhythm. So what I can do is that, let's see, so set ice. Yeah, so set ice has this version where it provides a time, right? So this is very useful. Um, I could do something like, so if you're at the wave 9, I'm just gonna set ice to something like, wait, so this is the 0th tick of wave 9, and I'm gonna reset it to just 1 comma 2 and 6 comma 2. I don't need those two spots. You can also do it like right after, but I think this is a good spot to, say basically I give up the other two spots. I don't need it. And W is basically a variable to check which wave you're in. So when you understand this is like a loop. It loops over 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and inside each loop. So basically, this code is executed 5 times, and then each time W is gonna be the wave number. So the first time W is gonna be 1, right? The second time it's gonna be 3, third time it's gonna be 5, and etc. etc. So the last time this is gonna be 9. So if you check this using this if condition, then so this code is only going to execute when we are in wave 9, right? Okay. So in wave 9, the 0 tick, we're going to say that, we're setting ice back to only 1, 2, and 6, 2. Okay, that should work pretty good. And then we can also extend everything to more stuff, right? So I think you can do something. Let me just check that. Yeah, you can. I think you can provide two ranges. Let me see. Yeah, so you can do something like, this is actually pretty useful. Well, I mean, I made it, right? So instead of just saying 1 to 9, you can also say 1 to 9 and 10 to 19 because, they're like two halves of the wave and they're mostly separate in most cases. So you can just say, okay, so for the first flag, I'm going to do this. For the second flag, I'm going to do this, which is very convenient. And then now here, I'm going to do this. Right? So I think this just works. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, there is a problem because I did fuck up and it says something weird because, yeah, this should not be, this should be this. Yeah, this should start from 11, not from 12. Because if you do 12, this also takes care of 12, and this also takes care of 12. So there is going to be a clash. Like, not necessarily, but mostly in 99% of the cases, it's a mistake. That's why simple AvZ just like throw in an error, which is very useful because otherwise, like, you will have to debug all these things. Okay, so now we are also skipping ticks, which is cool. So yeah, as you can see, it probably works until wave 9, but we also want to check whether it works for the other waves. So what you can do is you can just skip to 19, right? But there's going to be a problem because for wave 9, you have to do some manual things to clear up the zombies and you have to stall them, it's doable in AvZ, but it's going to take a lot of time. So we usually just do it manually, but because you want to see what's going on in 19, right? So there is something you can do though. You can just do this. Plants do plants invincible, right? So nothing is going to kill your cloud cannons. Basically, they're going to be in the invincible mode and then you can just skip to this tick safely. So let's just try to do that. Okay, so apparently everything's working. Pretty nice. Wave 19 should have PP, but it's not doing it. Not exactly sure why. 10, 12. Oh, because I have to say it here. Okay, yeah, so I think for safety, it's better to just say 19 both ways, right? Like also 9 here, so that like so like you don't make math mistakes of like what wave to terminate. So let's just try it again. And yeah, it's still working. IPP is doing its stuff for wave 19, which is great. Also, we have this. This is the 950 cops, and then we can also do something like that. Okay, that all works perfectly well. All right, let's just finish everything up. Wave 20, right? So you just say auto waves 20. So as I said before, you can like you don't have to do this syntax. You can just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, or like 1, 5, 7, 9, or like whatever. So that's also doable. It's just easier in this way and more readable if you're doing like a loop like this, right? But for wave 20, we don't have a loop. We just have this. And then first we want to kill the ambush zombies, which is gonna be this magic number. Basically, that means 249 centiseconds after wave 20 refreshes, you send a cop to row 4, column 7.5. It's just gonna kill all the ambush. This is, this is something you probably should remember, but like it's okay you don't understand it or like you don't remember it. No one cares. Yeah, and then let's also do something like so. This is basically what I do, right? So I just sorry, this should also be PP and then PP. So we send out 8 cops to kill everything that's out there. Okay, and yeah, that should just work pretty well. Let's uncheck this. This is important because when you're actually running it, like you don't want to mistakenly, do some like cheats or like cheating stuff or whatever. And then we don't need this. We can just set game speed to 2. All right, this is the final result. Let's enjoy. All right, so this is it. It's not very hard, right? Like I've been explaining a lot of concepts while I'm coding, but like if I'm only to code that, it's pretty straightforward. So as you can see, the ice on the second column, they're all pretty safe. The imps can't really touch them because of how change 6 works. And they're also protected by the umbrellas, which is a plus, of course. I think this is wave 9, yes. So some manual intervention here. Just to make sure I don't fuck up things, I'm gonna do a little bit of, you know. Oh, yeah, this is interesting. Okay. Alright, alright. All good, all good. So this is wave 10. Okay, everything works. The cop sequence is fucked up a little bit, but it's okay. It's fixable. It's fixable. Yeah, so this is it. And also note that the default set zombies for AvZ is going to be extreme. So if you go to spawn, this is extreme. So it says filling evenly. So basically the zombies are going to be evenly filled. So what that means is that you can do this and then you can just see all the zombies have the even number, which is not the case, by the way, in the natural game. So that's why there is also the natural spawn, which is the built-in generate, right? So it is more, well, it is not more, it's just, okay. Okay, I think I probably need to add something there. I'm doing some crazy stuff. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Oh, so as you can see, the cop did kill other ambush and without hurting the cops. Now let's just can find our favorite zombie and feed the zombie something. You know, feed it. We're like a zookeeper, which is nice. All right, I think I'm done. All right, bye bye. Okay, as you can see, the ice recovered, the cops recovered, uh, the sun recovered almost. If we didn't use the squash, and yeah, this is it. And if you're gonna actually record this game, then you probably don't like you probably wouldn't do this, right? You would just like do the normal game speed, and also don't do the crazy stuff I did when I was trying to finish it. There are also you can also like bring like maybe a walnut, because that's very useful in the end, as you can see. Because I was using those to stall a zombie, but you can just use uh, a better tool for that. And yeah, this is it. This is writing double ice 16 cop, and it's pretty easy if you just look at the final results, right? We have 2 big loops, and then we have a 20, a wave 20, which is just a sentinel thing. And that's it. It's not that hard. All right. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.